Hey guys, thanks for watching another episode of Midwest Slamcast. This week I have Dreamhouse on the podcast.
Woo.
Derek and Bri Moffat.
Hi.
How's it going?
Thanks for coming on the show, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
I've been listening to your guys' music for like ever, so
that's
it's
cool.
exciting to meet
Yeah.
you guys.
Appreciate it. That's awesome.
Well,
Thank you.
I obviously know you, but like it's
Me,
exciting
yeah,
to meet
I'm sure
you.
we've run in like the same building scenario before, but
Yeah.
never officially have met. Yeah.
Well, it's nice to meet you.
You too. Thanks for having us.
Thanks for coming on the podcast.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I've known you for quite some years now.
Yeah. What? I'm trying to think of what year that was when your old band we worked together. Was that like
I want to
probably
say
10 years ago at this
I
point?
want to say it was like 2014.
Yeah. 10
Yeah,
years
10
ago.
years
Yeah.
That sounds right to me. Yeah.
And it was at the that house. It was like right off of what is that?
Lonsdale.
Yeah,
It was in it was in
Lonsdale.
Murder
Waukesha.
House.
Yep.
Oof.
The murder house.
Yeah.
That house gives me PTSD.
So it was a band house for. I mean, some people around in the area will probably know what we're talking about, but yeah, it was called the Murder House, and Bri and I had a place prior to that in Milwaukee, and just out of nowhere, the landlord was like, "What did he give us? Like 30 days or something?"
Yeah. It was on sale the house was on sale forever, but it sold. And then he's like 30 days to get out. And we ended up.
Damn.
At the
We
murder
didn't know what to
house.
do. I had just recorded a record with a band called Armageddon Awaits, and they were telling me like, "Oh, we have this cool band house in Waukesha, and it's awesome, and there's a lot of space." And I didn't know what to do at the time, and I just called them up, and I was like, "Hey, so that space," and I ended up moving my studio in there, and yeah, that they ended up throwing shows there.
Is that where you guys recorded?
Yeah. We
Oh.
my old band out of Austria recorded 2 tracks.
Okay. Yeah.
Mhm.
There.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. Yeah. That
Yeah,
house
did a
Do you
lot of-
remember working on those at
Yeah,
all?
yeah, oh yeah. Did a lot of records there.
They found
And-
mice in the couch that you were sitting on.
That house was just,
House was-
it was a big party house with those guys.
Yeah,
And
I remember
fun.
I played a show with a Martyr's Fall there.
There, yeah.
too.
Yeah.
Oh, and that like shed.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was fun though.
It was a fun time. Yeah, yeah. It was just
Yeah.
crazy
I
with
think cops got called a couple of times to those shows.
cops. Yeah, yeah, lots of people. Yeah,
Yeah.
but
It was fun.
yeah,
Definitely some memories of that house.
yeah.
Yeah. So when did you guys like get your start in music?
I'll let you go first.
I got my first acoustic guitar when I was 8, and I actually didn't know what to do with it. Like my uncle gave it to me, and I remember one day just like turning the tuning pegs over and over, and then the string snapped and it hit my hand, and I was like scared of it, and I didn't touch it for years. And then it wasn't until like middle school where I was kind of getting phased out of playing in sports and stuff. Wasn't really interested in that. And
You're not very athletic.
no, I'm not. I'm not. Thanks, babe. Yeah, it started getting into like heavier music, and was listening to bands like Avenged Sevenfold and Atreyu and a lot of those early like Victory Records bands like Hawthorne Heights and stuff like that, and started learning those songs on guitar more, and really just started like just going hard at learning guitar, and found some friends too that were doing the same thing, and formed first band, and that was been playing in bands ever since basically. So.
What was the first band called?
First band was called Confirm the Fallen, and Cade Armstrong was in it. He's another local musician, and
Yeah, what band was he in? Because I remember
he was in
Glaciers.
Narrow Hearts of Glaciers.
I think I remember him from Of Glaciers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've worked on tons of projects with him, but yeah, that was his first band and my first band too. So yeah, it's fun.
Yeah. I have a very different start to music. I just did like musical theater as a kid and choir, and did not start picking up a guitar until I started dating Derek in high school, who actually got me my first guitar. It was a Luna, and it was Or wait, no, you got me that. Yeah, that was in high school, wasn't it? I don't remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
I don't remember. You got me a
No,
Luna.
you had that black one. That that classical
I got,
like
you
nylon.
know, like those guitars that like your parents get for you that know nothing about music from like Walmart or whatever.
I got
that,
like the
can't stay in tune to save their lives. Yeah.
I got like the drum kit version of that.
Yeah,
It was
that's
a
what I got in a
Borg-
guitar.
A Borg drum set.
Borg. I've never heard of that. Borg.
The cymbals were like some like shitty material that would just like invert.
Yeah.
Like, the cymbals
You hit
would
it
just-
too hard. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was hilarious.
I tried to teach myself, got bored, and then what's the word I'm looking for? Got reinterested when I started dating Derek, and then he kind of helped me learn to play guitar. And yeah, but singing all my life, just mostly in a musical theater type of way.
Yeah. Were you in any like musicals at all or anything?
Oh yeah, I did.
We were in
like,
one together.
I've been in musicals
really?
since I was like 5 years old.
We were
like,
in Into the Woods in high school.
Yeah, and it just made sense. They knew we were dating. They could have made us the baker and the baker's wife.
I was the baker. She
Instead,
was
you had to
Cinderella.
kiss some other lady.
She's still.
You
she's
actually
still
didn't kiss
giving
her.
me grief about that.
You didn't kiss her. No, I was Cinderella. That's fine.
No, yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, I kind of missed that. I'm not gonna lie.
Theater was cool.
Yeah.
Who were your like influences when you started, Bri?
So it's so funny because I feel like people ask musicians this all the time, and everybody always has cooler answers where they're like, "Oh, I grew up on like all this, you know, Joan Jett and Janis Joplin, like all these, you know, cult classic vocalists, I should say." But I literally grew up on country. Like my parents, that's all they listened to. And then like Alanis Morissette and the Cranberries and stuff. And then when I got into middle school and started getting into more of the alternative scene, I should say, then it was your classic Hayley Williams and Flyleaf and Evanescence and stuff like that. I was obsessed with Hayley Williams, I'm not gonna lie. Still am. No shame.
No shame. No shame.
Yeah, I mean she's awesome.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
she's-
She's powerhouse.
I like can watch videos of her playing live and like tear up and get very emotional. Like she's just a rock star.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So, did you guys have any like obstacles you had to overcome to become like proficient at like vocals or like I guess for you like production?
As far as production, yeah, I mean, I guess I just kind of like tuned the world out in some regard and just kind of back when I, you know, now you can kind of YouTube everything. There's like YouTube tutorials about anything really, like as far in production too, mixing drums and how do you record vocals and stuff like that. Back then, YouTube wasn't like that at all, and it was mostly like online forums and stuff. So I didn't even have a fast internet connection at my parents' house when I started. But yeah, it was mostly just like trying things out, and so I would just record all the time, and yeah, just that balance of like perfecting your craft and then sort of like not hanging out with friends and you know, just I guess that's more of an obstacle really like that I had to deal with. But
yeah, for me it was just transitioning from that musical theater background into like my own style of singing. I feel like that was really hard for me to get out of the very like regimented note by note reading sheet music type of style and to kind of find my own voice, I guess, in that. It's hard, especially when recording, because it can sound very like stale otherwise.
Yeah, I get what you mean. So when did you guys start working on stuff together? Like when
So when we were
did
living
that
in
like
the murder house, we had the idea to do Dreamhouse, didn't we?
I think it was even before that. It wasn't like Dreamhouse at the time. It was I started writing songs for a project that I wanted to do with her, and we
Yeah.
talked about that like
And we used
sort
to
of
do
fresh-
covers and stuff all the time. Like we
Yeah.
would just play music and sing music together and whatever.
it was kind of like
but-
fresh out of high school. So like 2011 is when I started writing
Yeah.
songs for a project, and then some of those songs ended up being Dreamhouse songs.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was it was like what 5-6 years before we actually like came out as a band.
I don't even remember what year. Was it 2015 that we came out? I don't even-
2016.
16? Yeah.
Yeah,
I was in
2016.
my program,
Mhm.
so I'm like, I can't remember. Forever ago.
Yeah.
Can you guys think of like a good like story of like times you guys shared like with the band like together?
Oh,
I don't know.
gosh, there's so many. I don't know. We have a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun on tour. We had a lot of fun in those early days before we even came out with the band. Kind of with like original members staying up until 5 a.m. after writing and just like talking about our belief in aliens and the supernatural and just like fun stuff like that.
Ghost
We used to
stories
practice in
and-
this old school in Fond du Lac.
It was an abandoned school that we used
Yeah.
to jam at. It was cool.
Damn.
Yeah.
How
No,
did that come about?
Just one of our original members had
Yeah.
access to it, and there was like a little recording studio there too, and
Oh,
a lot
shit.
of bands rehearsed there. So that's where we were jamming for a while, and yeah, I don't know if anything in particular, but
I don't know. There's so many. I can't think
Yeah,
of like
yeah.
a specific.
those are fun times though.
Instance,
Like
yeah,
starting
super fun.
something together. Like it
Yeah.
was before like. I mean, I think you were even singing too. Like you were there,
No,
but
I
we
would come to the
didn't.
practices and just watch them do everything.
We were
and
just practicing
hang out.
instrumentally because we didn't have any vocals written.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that
uh,
time,
at,
yeah.
at that time. So, but it was just cool. Like this is gonna be something. Yeah.
And then it was still years. After
Yeah,
that.
it was still years, but we got there.
And different members.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that was kind of similar to how like we started things, but
Yeah.
we didn't know each other in high school or anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was like just working on this project, and Holly's she's a phenomenal vocalist too.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Yeah.
we just she was actually like thinking about looking for a band, and then like I had a
Cool.
band, and I was
And
it
just
just
like, you
worked
know
out.
what?
Yeah.
Put two and
Let's
two
be in a
together.
band. Yeah.
That's awesome.
awesome.
Yeah.
So what do you guys think makes like a successful collaboration between artists?
Do you mean like with like
Like, I
when you
guess
do,
like a
features
band,
and
like
stuff, or between the artists in the band?
yeah,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's hard. I feel like that's the hardest part about being in a band is finding like the right collection of individuals that
Yeah.
all sort of like
definitely.
vibe and I don't know, share similar ideas and
Yeah, you have to like complement each other and not you gotta have like the same mindset and the same goal.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if you have too many cooks in the kitchen, and everyone has a strong opinion about going in this direction, you're either gonna take way longer to get to that goal, or you're just gonna not have a goal. Like
Yeah.
you're just gonna battle in different directions, and it could ultimately like hinder the band, and you could break up because you guys just don't get along, or
yeah, I think personalities are super important,
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
Like,
definitely.
especially when you're touring and doing all that stuff. Like,
when you're essentially living on top of each other.
yeah, you
Yeah.
have to,
You guys had a couple like member changes and stuff
yeah.
like that too. right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was in the earlier days. We've had the same lineup now since like 2018 or so. I
Yeah,
think.
but a few years didn't count because COVID kind of,
COVID was
everyone
just
was taking a hiatus,
yeah,
so
it
it
was-
was like,
Is
Those years don't count.
Crispy still playing with
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
guys?
we have
Mhm.
Crispy's in, and then we have
Crispy
and
Jared.
Jared,
Jared
yeah.
Block. He was in Narrow Hearts before too.
yeah,
So, yeah.
Crispy's never allowed to leave us. Or Jared.
yeah.
I feel like we have a pretty
don't-
solid lineup now where we're just like,
Oh yeah, I love those
we
guys.
all have the same vision for what we want to do. We're all like, I feel like committed equally to what we're doing, and
Yeah.
it's just like it works.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
great. Yeah.
Once you find that, it's like a great feeling.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because is like when you have members that like aren't like in that like same mindset, it
Mhm.
just like it like drags on everything.
And it's
Yeah.
not fun. It
No.
becomes
No.
not fun
Mhm.
when you are when everybody's just like down to, like has the same goal, and I think it becomes super fun. Like right now, Dreamhouse is fun
Yeah.
for us.
And it's funny because we actually just got a show offer recently that Jared can't play. And so we were talking about having a potential fill-in, and Derek was talking to him about, like, would you be okay with that? And Jared's like, dude, I know you're not going to kick me out. Like, it's fine. And we were, like, nervous.
No,
like, is he
no,
going to be
no,
mad
yeah.
if we still want to play the show? And
Yeah.
no, it's just, we're locked in. We got it.
Oh yeah.
Hopefully they feel the same way. Tell
Yeah.
us if you don't.
Jared,
Crispy.
yeah.
Where's the show?
Well, probably shouldn't say.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not
Well,
set
I don't
in
know.
stone
Also,
yet.
when is this coming out? Like the episode dropping? It might be after the fact anyway. But
Yeah. It was kind of Derek was in Japan and didn't get back to an email.
yeah, I'm the only one that checks our email, unfortunately.
He gatekeeps the email.
No,
Just
I don't-
kidding. He
That
doesn't.
feels because I am too.
And
Yeah.
I went to Japan and I just kind of shut everything off and was just enjoying my vacation. And
And then he
I
got back.
checked
and we
the
were
email
like,
and I was
"Shit."
like, what? Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So it might
see if
happen,
it
it might
pans out.
not, but
Yeah.
yeah.
It would be cool.
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited for you guys.
Thanks.
whatever it is.
It's not
Um,
gonna happen. People are gonna be like, "Well, it didn't work out."
Yeah, whatever. It's my fault.
So, are you? I know you're from around Milwaukee. Are you? Oh, wait, obviously you went to. high
No,
school
so
here.
we actually both moved to Milwaukee
Oh, did you?
when we were 18. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Mhm.
So
Okay.
Yeah.
we grew up 30 miles north of Wisconsin Dells and Adams Friendship. Nobody
Oh,
knows where it
Okay.
is. Like that's where we went to school. You
Yeah.
technically lived in Arkdale.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hence
So-
these 608 studios. It's the area code in
Yeah.
central
Okay.
Wisconsin.
Yeah.
So,
And I went to Milwaukee for nursing school, and he went to build his studio right away. And
mhm.
yeah.
Yeah.
So we both just kind of implanted here and have stayed.
But we've been in the scene like right when we moved. So since
Yeah.
2011.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. Well, I was gonna ask what each of your first like local Milwaukee show was.
Oh,
Probably a Wolves show.
yeah, probably. If you
Or,
remember the band
Warped
Wolves?
Tour, but
Yeah.
that's not a
Yeah.
local
Oh yeah.
really show, but Warped Tour.
I was doing a record with Wolves, and I actually
Lived
for
with them
like 2
briefly.
months I lived with them. Right when I moved out of my parents' house, we hadn't gotten our place yet, and I just needed to start. I had a record to do, and lived with them for a couple months, and then I was doing their record, and then they never had a bass player, and I started playing bass with them.
You've been a fill-in for so many bands.
Yeah.
It's like insane.
Yeah.
So
how many bands were you in?
I was in Wolves,
Armageddon.
Armageddon Awaits.
From the Fallen.
Well, yeah, and then my band. But that's it.
Our band.
No, my band before Confirmed
Oh.
Fall. Yeah.
Like you're talking about like Dreamhouse. I'm like, our band.
And then our band, yes. So 4. I
Really?
think
It
4.
seems like more than that.
I
don't
filled
know.
in for other bands
Well,
here
and
and
I think
there.
in some of those bands too, you filled in like multiple roles. Like in Armageddon, didn't you
I did vocals for 2 tours.
have you played
Yeah,
like
yeah.
guitar? Like I don't even know.
Yeah,
can't
I
keep track.
remember
Yeah.
you doing vocals for Armageddon
Yeah.
Awaits
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makeup was a hot look.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. So probably
Wolf
it's
show,
probably
I
like a
think.
Wolf show.
Yeah.
I can't pinpoint which the first one that I played with them. Have a feeling it was like one of the shows with like Sworn In and Barrier and
Probably at the Mar.
Miramar, or like one of those like town halls or something like that. But
Oh yeah.
yeah, that's probably the same for you.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't really get to go to a lot of shows
Oh,
growing up
really?
either. My parents were like, I don't know, they thought I was going to like go off and get pregnant and do drugs or something. So like, I didn't go to many. I think when we started dating, my mom took us to a show in Mayville. And
Mhm.
who was that band that you recorded them once?
Mike's band.
No, not
What
just
Lies
Mike's band. Yeah, What Lies Ahead, but who was playing? Derek Schwartz was his old
The
band.
Ship Will Sink.
Yeah, that's right.
And then I recorded.
It was
them.
at like a bowling alley, and that was cool. But
It-
Yeah.
Did your parents have like a hard time dealing with like the heavy stuff?
no, not really, because my brother was like a huge metalhead.
Oh, really?
He is a huge metalhead. He plays in a band in Washington now. Like he's back to his roots. He's like living his dream right now. But they were used to the metal stuff and the
Oh,
heavier
okay.
stuff. They just, I think because my brother was such a rebel and just such a bad kid, they just thought that anything that involved that was just going to be terrible. And then, but my mom also took me to my first Warped Tour, so she came around.
Yeah.
And they go to my shows, like go to our shows all the time. Like
Yeah.
anytime they
yeah.
can get off, they're at our shows. So
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
my parents were totally cool with it.
oh my gosh, I remember going to a show of yours in middle school. Or no, we were in high school, but it was at the middle school. And I got done with the dance practice and I went up and you were playing a show in the gym and your parents were there and you got done playing and your mom was like kissing you on the forehead and she was like, oh, my baby boy, I'm so proud of you.
Shout out mom, shout out dad.
I was like, look at this mama's boy.
That's funny.
They were like packing up your gear into your old Toyota Corolla. Like, it was great.
Yeah, no, my dad like took me on tour when like my first band. We went on a tour and he drove and
Very different upbringings for
yeah,
us, I feel like.
yeah, my dad was all about it, just taking me to shows,
That's awesome.
like boys and
He
girls
like collects
clubs
records and stuff. His dad does, so he's super into music and all that.
Yeah, my dad was the one that got me into music too. So
Yeah?
yeah. He was a I mean, he still has his kid. I don't think he really plays
drums?
anymore. Yeah,
Nice.
he got me into drums.
That's so cool.
But yeah, and he actually I went on tour when I was young too, but not with my band.
With his?
No, with
Oh.
So he works for this company called Clearwing. Do you know Clearwing? It's like a audio and like
oh wait, no, yeah, I have heard of them. Yes.
but
Yeah,
he
I think I've
used
seen
to
some ads for them.
he's like the transportation manager there now. But he used to like drive trucks for them. And like when I was like 14, he went on like a 3-week tour with Steve Miller.
Oh, cool.
And like I got to like come with him. Like that's how I spent my summer. And it was
Nice.
it was crazy.
How old
But
were you?
I was 14.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I went on my first tour. I was 13. Yeah.
And your band?
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
when you
hell yeah.
recorded with
Yeah.
Joel too, right?
Yeah,
Wasn't it?
yeah. No,
Or no, that was like when you were
a
dating
couple
me.
years
so that
later.
was a couple
But
years later.
yeah. Before that, yeah, it was just like booking shows on MySpace and just trying to
Damn.
think about how
You're-
I did that as a 13-year-old now is just like crazy because I literally have like no recollection of making that happen. But we were on like little festivals here and there, and I'm like, I don't even know how I did this from my parents' kitchen computer.
That's crazy. I feel
dial-up
like
internet.
you were ahead of the curve kind of on
Yeah.
that one at 13.
Yeah.
Like I don't think I played my first show until I was like 16 or 17.
Yeah. And that's still
So,
pretty early though. Yeah. That's cool.
I was 20 something.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Late
So-
bloomer.
What would each of you guys say that like is your favorite show you've ever played?
1,
Hmm.
2, 3. Warped
Warped
Tour.
Tour. Yeah, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. That one was
It's-
definitely like a bucket list.
I wish we could
Check
have a
off.
do-over.
Yeah.
I was so nervous that it's kind of a blur, but I wish.
What
yeah.
year
I
did
don't
you guys
think
play
so.
there?
I think it was
2018.
2018.
Was that like the
2019?
last year?
It was I think 2019 had select dates or something. It wasn't like a full US tour. I remember
Yeah.
they like had like the East Coast and then
It was
California
the last
or
full
something.
tour. Yeah.
But yeah, 2018 was the last one. And I just remember they had the Ernie Ball contest.
Mm-hmm.
And it was only for one band per date rather than like prior years where they had like 5 or 6.
Yeah.
And it was one band that got to play
Main stage.
the main stage, like the Journey's left or right foot.
Yeah.
And we won, and that was just like crazy.
Oh my
that
gosh,
was
so nervous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember being
That's
so
nuts.
nervous.
it was so cool though. Like
It was
we
fun. Playing with bands that like we grew up listening to a festival that I'd only been to a handful of times because I was so sheltered. But it was it was awesome.
Who are you guys all playing with at that?
So who was at that?
Dance Gavin Dance played. I know.
Who played like right after
Um,
us?
I can't remember. I still I don't remember. You told
can
me
look
it was a
see.
band that had like a top 40 hit,
Yeah, I can't remember.
and I just don't remember. I think it started with an A. They played like immediately after us, but yeah, I don't remember. But who else played? Hawthorne Heights played.
because we met both of them. We met Tillian and
Yeah, because we had like a year prior to that. I think we opened up for Hawthorne Heights here in Wisconsin.
yeah,
Um,
that was a cool show too.
And so we were talking about that with them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm trying to think
hard
of
to
like
pick,
who are
like,
the
one.
headliners. I don't remember. Our brains as new parents are kind of like fried a lot of the time, right?
Dude, I was just telling you, like, sometimes I'll be like driving and I'll forget where I am and I'll freak out for a second. And then I'm like, is this stress? Is this like my life now? But yeah, Warped
Yeah.
Tour was fun. I don't know. We played we did a tour with Johnny Craig in Texas, and a lot of those shows were really fun. Yeah.
Oh,
Those
hell
were
yeah.
like super
Yeah.
fun crowds and just like really, I mean, I hate Texas otherwise, but they have good fans. It's just like so hot.
You're always
it's
just
so
very public about hating Texas, and it's
'Cause
just
it's so
just 'cause of the heat.
unnecessarily hot.
It is so
and
bad.
every time we're there, something happens. We get stuck in a tornado. Our brakes go out. I get a heat
that's true.
stroke.
That's
like
true.
every time
That's
we're there.
true.
Then I got sick and we couldn't even finish the tour because we were stuck in someone's house because there was like a tornado coming and our brakes were out, or no, their tires went flat or something. And
Yeah.
then I got sick
Yeah.
and then we couldn't finish the tour, and so we got our
Damn.
tires fixed and then went home and spirits a little down.
A lot,
so
of,
I
of
just,
bad stuff has happened in Texas for
Yeah.
us. Yeah, but
good shows though.
yeah, great shows. That Johnny Craig run was awesome. I remember I was gonna say either the Warped Tour show or we played San Antonio. I remember that show being like extra awesome.
Yeah.
I think the crowd was just like vibing with us that night,
Yeah.
and it was the biggest one of those shows too, and it was just like surreal kind of moment. So
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Here's a fun one.
okay.
What was the worst show you guys ever played?
Do you
I
remember?
think performance-wise for me it was Launch Festival. The first time we played Launch,
In
I was just so
Pennsylvania?
nervous that my vocal performance just sucked ass. And you kept making fun of me because I kept saying Lancaster instead of Lancaster.
Oh yeah, the locals pronounce it as Lancaster,
Yeah.
and then
I
you
was
were like, "What's up,
"What's up,
Lancaster?"
And I'm like, it's fine. It's like a festival or conference or whatever where
that
there's
was fine.
people from all over the place. It didn't really matter. So vocally, that performance sucked. But then also, I think our worst show was like on our first tour. We played Akron, Ohio.
It was. I think it was the same.
There was a dead mouse in the middle of the stage when we got there.
What?
And they were like, I think they offered us like food from the kitchen or whatever. We were like, we can't eat here. Like, there's like a dead mouse on the stage. There was a really cute puppy though that was there that probably shouldn't have been. That's not good for their ears. And then there was like a drive-through grocery store next door that we were pretty sure they were like dealing drugs out of.
Yeah,
We were
it
kind of
was
sketched
very
out. but
sketchy.
Good memories. I don't
yeah.
know.
Yeah.
What about for you?
I think I remember.
The Emily Brandt show where you forgot the laptop bag.
No, but I was proud of us. We actually like pulled off our set. So we play with like backtracks and programmed lights and all that, and we realized that I forgot our laptop. I realized that, and we had no time to like go back and get it or anything. So we just kind of had to improvise and just play just together. And I was actually. It sounded a lot different. Like, I'm the only guitar player, so there's missing elements here and there and synths and stuff like that. But I was actually pretty proud of us and how we pulled it off.
All right, that's fine.
So given the circumstances, I think it was good. But no, I think I just remember like one show in Indianapolis. I think we played the Hoosier Dome. You remember that? And I remember our backtracks like skipping halfway through, and it was like very exposed. And we got off, and it just like wasn't gelled together, and I was just like, man, that was not a good set. I just remember not feeling great about that, but
I don't remember that show.
then it doesn't matter.
What are some of your guys' favorite Midwest bands, and like what have they been up to lately that you're stoked on?
Yeah, Lilac and Lotus, and mostly because I'm
Oh, yeah.
biased. I went to school with Crystal, who's a
Oh,
lead
really?
vocalist. Yeah.
Nice.
So we went to high school with her, and we've been friends for a really long time. And I'm just so happy that she's in this band because I feel like they're so good, and they're getting a lot of traction and getting on a lot of good shows. And I'm just like really proud of her, and I love them. And also Eric, we used to live with at the Murder House.
He was
Eric
in
Naduzak.
Armageddon Awaits.
He was in
really?
Armageddon. Mm-hmm.
So we've just been friends for a long time,
Yeah.
and making this project with them was awesome.
Yeah.
Um,
And then personally like Drive. I don't know. They're just fun.
Lake-
Raven writes really catchy songs.
Yeah, I'm really stoked on shout out Lake Drive. It's a band that they have an EP coming out pretty soon that I produced, and super talented, good songwriters. Lake Drive, the Keystones. I just did a few songs with them as well. They're
wild. Playing that show. What do they rent a U-Haul and played out of a U-Haul?
Yeah, that was
on Brady.
that was so sick. That was so
They had,
fun.
we're actually working on a video right now with Eddie.
Eddie.
Oh, yeah?
He filmed our
He did a couple of
very
ours.
first video, didn't he?
No,
that was Peter
He
Doucette.
did Clever. He did The
He did,
Current.
The
He's
first
edited.
time we met Eddie, he filmed Clever for us. And he kept saying, "You guys ever seen the 1975 Girls music video? You guys ever heard of the 1975 Girls music?" He said it like 500 times. And we were like, this guy's so
yes,
quirky.
Yes,
We
Eddie.
love him though. We love Eddie.
Yeah.
Was that the one with like the colored? Like,
Yeah,
I
we
think
all
so.
were like
Yeah,
dressed like I was literally in his parents' house. We like went there. They painted the whole room. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
that was a good one.
Yeah.
Luna got a cameo.
Yeah.
In it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, how do you think the scene has changed throughout the years from your guys' perspective?
I've personally been seeing a lot of bands start out and they have like quote unquote their shit together more. Like you're seeing more and more bands with, you know, in-ear monitor systems and like higher production value, and like they're coming out and they have like programmed light shows and stuff. And like 10 years ago, it was pretty rare for local bands around here to, to have that. And that might be just like the technology and the barrier of entry, like getting more accessible and stuff. But or like the education, like you can look up how to build an in-ear monitor system on YouTube and how to program your lights and stuff like that. And so I'm seeing more of that in the scene. What about you?
I don't know. I mean, I've only been in it for like a shorter time, so I feel like you know more of that stuff than I do. I think a lot's changed since COVID. I feel like you can even say like pre-COVID scene versus post-COVID, and it's just different.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like the vibe at local shows is like changed a lot. Like,
Yeah.
it feels like a lot more hyped up at shows,
Yeah.
at least at local shows
Yeah.
than it used to be.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I feel like people are more excited to come out, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
And maybe that's just because like we're all getting older, and I don't know. I feel like a lot of the same people that are in the scene have been in the scene for a really long time, and they're just getting older, but it's still like those people. And I don't know, maybe we're just dedicated.
yeah, yeah, it could be it.
You know what
too.
I mean? Like just dedicated fans.
What do you guys feel like bands should be doing more of?
I feel like a lot of bands will invest in good recordings and good music videos and get good promos and get all of that packaged up together. And then when it comes time to release, they will kind of just release it. They'll post it, and that's it. And then in a week or two, just the way people consume content and stuff like that, like people forget about it. And I feel like some bands are doing it, but other bands, I think most bands, I feel like really need to learn marketing and, buying ads and learning how to like sell your package, your music video and everything like that, and invest into that side, because it's equally as important as getting all of that high quality stuff that you spent, your time and effort and everything into getting it done, and then just like saying it's out. It's
I think it's also
like,
hard too, though, because of the way that like social media algorithms have changed.
Oh yeah,
like,
it
it's
is
so much
so
harder
hard.
to
Yeah,
like, market your releases and
yeah. You got to
Yeah.
play the social media game, and that can be soul crushing, and like doing like skits on the internet and stuff while being a creative artist. It's like you got to wear so many different hats, but that is what you have to do. Like the percentage of people that are just blowing up on a SoundCloud link or something, just like I just recorded a song and posted it, and then overnight I'm a top 40 artist is very, very small. And I feel like you got to play the social media game, and you got to do all those things because you need to get in front of people's eyeballs. You're fighting and you're buying for people's attention.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just ultimately what I feel like a lot of bands around here just like are lacking at. It's hard, I don't blame them. It's expensive to do all those things before getting to that stage, but like, it is so important. And
I think we also speak from a point of like where we are in our band now is different than where we were like when we were trying to like get on bigger tours and like do stuff. Now we're just like comfortable kind of playing.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like
hanging out. Like
if you
honestly, back in the day, it probably would have been beneficial for us if we were like the band that we were then to like have a TikTok now and invest in like short form content and stuff. But now we're just we're chilling. So
right.
we say all this with like, dude, we're chilling. We're probably not doing any of this right now.
Yeah, I was just gonna say like all the things that I just said, Dreamhouse doesn't do, but it's literally because
we used to, but we don't anymore.
We used to market and do all that stuff, but I feel like so people that don't know, Bri and I are married. We're together. And
I'm a mother.
And I'm a father. So
life is just different.
Life is different now for us. I feel like we are comfortable in what we've accomplished as a band.
Yeah.
And we've got to
Dreamhouse is just like fun now. We're excited to just like have a fun outlet where we're not like stressed out. Like I do miss tour. I wish we could go on tour again. And that's weird because when I was in tour, I was like, God, miserable. Back hurts. But now I'm like looking back and I'm like, oh, I wish we could go on another tour.
So it's different now for us.
But
I think we're at peace with like what we've done. Like we've gotten to play Warped Tour. We got signed and all this stuff. But like, so don't let current Dreamhouse be an example of what I just said for like advice for artists, because all that stuff, all that like, the TikTok stuff and ad spending and all that stuff is like so important to
keeping up with the
cut through the noise.
Whether Dreamhouse is doing it or not, like you also like are constantly working with bands. So you,
exactly.
Have that experience to know like, and also you want like as a producer, you want your work to get out there.
Exactly.
So,
He's like pseudo manager. I feel like you've been pseudo manager for many bands over the years, but even like right now you're like super invested in certain projects.
But I think that's just because
you spread your knowledge.
I want to see my bands succeed. I want them to. It helps me out too if a band takes off or whatever. But I think we're all like I wouldn't want the opposite. I wouldn't want to record a band and then be like, I hope they don't get to play that show, or it'd be so weird. Like, no, I really want these bands to have these wins and get noticed. So
Oh yeah. Well, I kind of want to segue into like talk about your studio a little bit.
Sure. Yeah.
So I went there when I bought these sound panels from you, and I got the little tour, but
it was probably different. It's probably different back then. Yeah.
What did you change since I was in there?
I'm trying to remember when that was. I mean, it was quite a few years ago, but
well, you haven't had those in
it's probably about, when did we move into the house? Because that's when 4 years ago.
This is like, I don't know.
It was
4
probably
years
about
ago.
like 4 years ago.
Yeah. I don't know.
Just like cosmetic stuff.
Yeah, just more the painting and.
You did your stone wall in your live room and.
Yeah, I think I did that during COVID. So just making it look better than it was. But got
a new toilet in the downstairs bathroom.
I got a Japanese toilet. I got a Toto. So anybody that is interested in recording and wants to have the best bathroom experience of your life.
Does it have the bidet?
It's a bidet.
Yes.
It's a total washlet.
It's got
a heated toilet seat.
Heated toilet seat, unlimited hot water. It's got a dryer. It's got a deodorizer. It's got a soft close. It's got a remote.
Hey man,
I spent like $700 on the thing for you guys, okay?
Every time he has a new band in, he's like, "You want to hear about their experience?"
Can I come record a song just so I can just shit?
Dude, do it. Yeah, you don't even have to record. Just come over and just tell me how it is for you.
Maybe Toto can sponsor your.
Oh, that would be awesome. Toto, please sponsor me.
So, what was like the process like building that out?
I think it was just like trying to find the right property that we could. I mean, so before that, we were in the band house, and yeah, it was tight. I was recording in an attic, and then we were tracking drums in our shared living space. And there's we're living with a bunch of guys, and it was also their rehearsal space, and it was just time for us to get our own place. And so we found the right property that even had enough land for our dogs to run around in and future kids to play in and stuff like that. And it had enough square footage for like a control room, a live room,
Studio B,
another studio, a separate bathroom, and we have a lounge area and a vocal booth. And that was interesting trying to learn how to build that too, because the carpenter guys, shout out Dave August, the guy I was working with.
Love you, Dave.
Love you, Dave. And Sue.
And Jordan.
And Jordan, yes. He never built a studio before, but he was building houses and kitchen cabinets, and he's like a jack of all trades and everything. But he was equally as curious and excited about building control rooms and learning about like double drywall and acoustic caulk and all this stuff that you don't take into account when you're just putting up 2x4s and stuff. But yeah, it was a process because the work couldn't stop for me. I had to, while we're doing framing, I had to record in a corner with a band, and there's drywall dust everywhere, and there's drywall dust everywhere, like on mics.
There still is, I feel like. It's just never ending. Like he's just still finding it everywhere.
Yeah. So yeah, it was exciting though. It was really cool to see it like just
maybe
start.
Dave will help you again when you find your barn. Dream barn.
Yeah. My next studio. Yeah.
Oh, you're gonna build another one?
We want to
there's
a barn studio. Yeah. He's got a dream. Every time we drive past a barn, he's like, that would make a great studio.
My dream is to take like a big barn and just, convert it into a big recording studio with big, tall, 30-foot ceilings, and
that'd be sick.
Yeah. And have it be separate from the house too, and just have this be just like this ultimate like production.
Yeah.
With like but just cool, like it would look like a farm barn from the outside, That's like that would be so sick. But one day.
So how long did it take before when you started doing production until you were doing it full time? Would you say?
It was a couple years. It was a couple years of just making records every now and then with friends and some bands that would travel to my parents' house. That's where I started, in my parents' basement.
But I mean, you really didn't have to, like, literally the second we turned 18 and moved away, he was doing it full time. He's had one job, and it was at the radio station that my mom worked at that got us a job. We used to host an emo radio show on Saturday nights.
Yeah.
And that was his only I don't want to say actual job, like your job is a job, but
yeah,
where you weren't your own boss. Otherwise, you've been doing it literally.
Yeah,
since
it
you were
was
18.
like out of necessity. It was just like we had an apartment to pay for, and she was going to school, and I was just like, I need to make records, and it was just
Gotta make records.
It was just a word of mouth, basically. I would record this band, and they would hear that, and it was just a snowball effect. But so I've been very grateful and very blessed to not have to like spend money on advertisements or anything since I've been doing this.
Awesome.
Knock on wood. But yeah.
Well, I think it's clear that that you have some gifted ears on your head.
Oh, thank you. I
So
appreciate
like that makes sense.
thank you. I appreciate it.
It's amazing that you say that because I feel like he
Oh yeah,
can't hear.
yeah. When she's saying something to
It's like, he's
me,
like, what? And I'm like, how do you do this for a living? Like, how
Sorry,
do you? This is your job to listen
Yeah, yeah.
and mix records. Like, you can't hear me when
I
I'm
can
speaking
hear
to
if the
you.
hi-hat is 0.5 dB, a little too loud in the upper high end, but
There's not
I
enough
can't
10K
hear.
in your voice
Yeah,
right now.
Yeah.
So
But I can't hear her when she's calling my name.
You'll
from the
get
other
bothered
room.
when there's like a penny in the car and it's like moving and making a sound.
Yeah,
but like
that-
I could
that
be
bugs
screaming
me.
at you
Little
from across the room
vibrations
and you
bug
don't
me in
know.
the car,
Yeah.
but
So, what is your favorite and least favorite part about this job?
I think my favorite part is just simply like working with awesome people and like making awesome music. Like if all of those things can just align and you're just having a good time, yeah, it almost doesn't feel like work. You're hanging out and cracking jokes with good people, and just makes the whole 12-hour day that I do just like so much better. Yeah, I love that aspect of it, and just making lasting friendships too. Like I'll hang out with a lot of these members and bands that I record with, and go check out their shows and stuff too. So yeah, just making good friends, good vibes, good music.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, that's what it's all about.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
And then the worst part. You didn't say
Yeah,
the
what's
worst
your
part.
Oh, the
least
worst
favorite?
part. Yeah. Obviously, like the polar opposite of that. That when sometimes when you're working on stuff that you're just not really gelling with, it happens. But I still give it my all. Like I still put as much effort into their project, as I would with something that I'm like really really stoked on too. But also, short answer would probably be like drum editing,
Yeah.
or like recording acoustic guitars. Like you can't move your chair, you can't breathe, you can't
You
like
turn off the heat.
you gotta turn off the AC and the heat, and you gotta like it's really delicate process. So
Yeah.
yeah, probably just that. But
Um. So, how? I mean, this might be like different artist to artist, but like, how like hands on do you like to be like creatively with the artists you work on?
yeah, it does depend. It usually like we would talk about that prior to recording too. Like, are you guys looking for a producer? Are you looking for someone to sort of write with you or bounce off ideas, or do you just want someone to hit record and that's it? Like I've done plenty of records, both ways. But usually a lot of people are pretty open to critiques, open to changing things. And I think the more open-minded you are going into a recording session, the better. It's not just because I get to put my stamp on things. I'm not really looking to do that in the first place, but like just, I think as an artist, you can get tunnel vision for things, you're sitting in your bedroom, you're cooking up the song, this riff or whatever, and you can kind of lose perspective on that. And it's always nice to just hear an outside set of ears on stuff. So I always just tell bands, just go in with an open idea. But if you're married to your vision and whatnot, that's still cool. So yeah, I've done both for sure.
Have you ever had it where like you were like almost like certain that like something needed to be a certain way, and like a band member kind of was like, no, it needs to be this way? Like,
Yeah, I'm sure that's happened.
For sure has. You've vented to me
Yeah.
about like mix revisions and stuff where you're like,
For
they want to
sure.
do this and I don't really like think that that'll sound good. And
Yeah,
had conversations
and
about
if I do feel like strongly about something like that, I'll voice that opinion, but I'll be like, let's try your idea too, and let's just see, like, let's hear both, whether it's recording or a mix revision or something, let's hear both, and then you know, if the band is like, yeah, we do want to go with our idea, like that's totally cool. It's your guys', you know, it's your guys' song. So yeah, I don't think I've ever been like, no, this has to be this way. Like, I'm putting my foot down. No, I
I'm just kidding. I just recorded with you, but it's different.
So how do you ensure that like vocalists, like when you're recording vocals, are like good and like comfortable in that? Because a lot of vocalists like view that as like kind of like a vulnerable thing.
Yeah.
So like how do you go about like making sure vocalists are comfortable in the studio?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah, how do you?
How do I? Well, I think it first starts off with like getting them physically comfortable in the space. Like, if it's a mic like, you know, this or the SM7B, do they want to hold it? Do they feel more comfortable? Like, do they feel like they're more like at a live show? Do they want to lean their foot on something, or do they want it on a stand? Do they want in-ears in, or do they want headphones over their head like that? Do they want the lights off? Do they want their lyrics on a stand, or do they want to hold it on their phone? Is their headphone mix good and dialed in? Just all of those things first. I think you should make sure all those are good for them, because those things can definitely throw off your vocals. Like if they just can't hear themselves well, or if like there's a light that's in their face, you know, they can't relax more. So just get them to relax. And then I think after that, you can start, you know, doing some takes, and then I think then, just offering like, what am I trying to say? Don't offer critiques right away. Just like compliment them on what they're doing well. Like, hey, that sounded awesome. Like, let's just try it again. Like, even if you're thinking in your head, like, I wish they held out that note longer, I wouldn't say it right away because I feel like they're not comfortable yet. So I would say like, hey, that sounds awesome. Let's just run it again. Are you cool? You feeling good? And then they would do it again. And then once they're like vibing more and they're like, oh, this is fun. This is cool. Then I would be like, hey, can you just hold that out a little bit longer? Or like, I really like the way you came in, but like, can you maybe put a little more grit on this word here? You know, stuff like that. Then you start getting in the nitty gritty. But I feel like you should really make sure that they are feeling good about themselves first.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that 100%. So I know you have a few pieces, but what's your stance on like outboard gear? What are like some of your like favorite pieces?
Outboard gear. Yeah, I love outboard gear. I
outboard gear. Yeah. Oh yeah, I love outboard gear.
Do you get
some people might not know what outboard gear is.
Have like consultations about about gear and stuff.
Right now it's amps because he's like going down this vintage amp rabbit hole.
Yeah.
And I'll come downstairs and there'll be a new one. I'm like, when'd you get that one? Like while I was at work, he goes and picks it up from Facebook Marketplace.
Just waits.
I'm like, all right, do we need to stage an intervention? Like, what is happening?
It's a business investment.
No, I don't usually get too finicky about that stuff.
Yeah, you know some pieces, but like I'd probably say so outboard gear, if people don't know, it's like a hardware piece of audio equipment, like an equalizer or a compressor or something. They have digital ones, you know, they're called plugins. But yeah, so I have a couple distressors that I really, really love. I have an 1176. I have like an SSL style bus compressor that I really, really enjoy. Those are probably my big ones. I like outboard compression a lot.
Yeah. Man, I've been wanting to get some of those distressors for
Yeah,
years now.
yeah, they're cool. But I will say that I've used the plug-in versions of all those things, and I still do a lot of the time. I only have
Yeah.
2 distressors, so I will still use the plugins, and the plugins are also great too. So I've done many mixes where I use no outboard gear; it's all in the box. So I don't
Well,
feel
you've
like.
downsized a lot. I feel like
Do you have
used
a
to way
console
more.
or
No, I used
Used
to
to.
have like a 16 channel Allen and Heath analog console that had 16 analog pre's and 16 analog EQs in it. And it was also like a FireWire interface too, and it had like talkback. It had a lot of cool features in it. But the main thing it was FireWire connection, and as I was upgrading my system, it just never really played well with my stuff, and FireWire is pretty outdated at this point, and I had to move on. So in some regards, I still miss it, but I'm on a much more stable thing now. So
Did you ever work with like recording tape, or have you always been?
no,
like, in the
I've
DAW?
actually never done tape, and I've always wanted to. Yeah.
I feel like
Sounds
you
like-
always get like excited about that. Like
Yeah.
when we saw Bohemian Rhapsody and it showed them like in the studio or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, oh.
Another operatic
Yeah.
session.
Yeah. No, I will someday. I've been very close to buying tape machines here and
Yeah.
there, but right now I'm on this vintage amp kick, like you said. So I'll hold off on the tape machine. But
That'll
yeah,
be your
someday
next-
we'll
your
do
next
it
phase.
for sure.
What are some of the amps you got?
I've been on like this kind of, this like weird kind of off the beaten path amp collection. Like Gibson made some amps back in the day. I think they're now making amps again, but I've got a couple weird Gibson amps that I've never heard of before. Some Silvertone. I got a Silvertone head. What else did I get? Like old like Sears catalog stuff, like from the '60s. I've just been like
Something with like, what is it? Greenbacks?
greenbacks. Yeah.
I don't know what that means, but
It's a speaker.
yeah.
Yeah. I'll also buy just speakers too.
Yeah.
Because
Do you
That's
like wire
fun.
stuff up and
what's
stuff?
that?
or-
Oh, what? Yeah, I can do that. Yeah,
yeah.
I some of like that SSL compressor I built too. I just learned how to solder. And,
Oh hell yeah!
yeah.
You bought one of those like kits? That
Yeah,
you,
yeah. It had all the directions and everything, and
Hell yeah.
I
Did
think I
they
actually
all-
bought you one for Christmas that you wanted one year.
Yeah.
Can you get those pre-built, or did they?
you can't get them pre-built.
you
Yeah,
can?
yeah. There's a cool company if anybody's interested in stuff like that. It's called DIY Recording Equipment. They make awesome products. You can just buy them too, like pre-built too, but they make it very beginner entry level, friendly, and yeah, very affordable too.
Oh yeah.
Not sponsored. It's not sponsored. I just like them.
I know. I think
So do you? My guess is that you prefer real amps to amp sims.
So yeah, now I'm on a vintage amp kick, like I keep saying, but
I feel like you go through phases.
prior to that, I was like pretty much all digital just because of the ease of use and instant recallability. You can just load up a session and like the guitar tone's there, and so. But I was doing that for like 5 years. I have a Kemper, Helix. I had an Axe FX too, and I was really into those things, and I still am. They're awesome tools and everything. I think part of the reason why I'm shifting towards real amps now, it's not as exciting. It's not as
Yeah.
fun. I
get
I
that.
like the idea of just like turning it on, and like we use digital live, Kemper and Helix stuff live, and it's great. We're also on an in-ear monitor system, so we can hear the exact tone in our ears, and we don't have any like on-stage bleed getting into the vocal mic and stuff like that. But so I love it in that regard. But just like saving presets and digging through so many different parameters like tube sag and pick attack clarity and all this like endless stuff, I just like I find it a little less inspiring to just like
You definitely
flip
get
through.
overexcited about real amps. And you used to do
Yeah.
that, I remember when we lived in Milwaukee. Like,
Yeah.
you would reamp guitars, like, using our attic.
Yeah. I would just blast like my 5150 through a Mesa upstairs and
Yeah.
just reamp off a full length record. And so I've kind of went from like real amps to all this digital stuff is freaking sweet to now kind of back to
Your roots.
but I'll still use cabs here and there too. Like if I just want like a cool tone and the amp is not plugged in, or if we're adding another unique kind of clean guitar after the fact, like the vocals are already done, and then the vocalist is like, or the guitarist is like, hey, just like one more part, can we add this? Like instead of miking everything up again and all that stuff, we'll just plug it in and find a cool tone there. So definitely use both. I don't feel like one sounds better than the other or anything like that. I don't have any real strong opinions on it. I think if you can make a badass sounding tone out of a plugin, which I have and which many people do, like more power to you. I'm not like that sounds like a plugin that that they should have used real amps on that. Like I don't give a shit about any of that.
Yeah.
Like yeah.
So what are some of your favorite techniques to use when recording drums, would you say? By the way, your drum mixes are like fucking
well, thanks, man. Thank you.
fucking real good.
I appreciate that. I lately I've really been into this is not like hidden knowledge or anything. I'm sure tons of people know about this, but like taking the room mics and then I would always just like face them at the drums, point them at the drums. But lately I've just been turning them around completely and capturing essentially the sound coming off the walls and getting back into the mics, and it sounds way different. It sounds, I think when you blend them in with the close mics, it sounds bigger, and so I've really been into that, and I've really been into using ribbon mics too for that application, and I love ribbon mics in general, but yeah.
What kind of mics are you using on drums?
I've got a couple Cascade Fatheads that I recently bought this year, and I love those things. They just sound like natural, and they're not hyped in any way. Like ribbon mics are super dark sounding. They're not bright, and that's what I want in a room mic. I'm not trying to capture a lot of cymbals because you got all the cymbals from the overheads and all that. So I've also been into just like trying something new every session, whether that's like putting a mic in sort of like an unusual spot and then compressing the heck out of it. I've been into.
Have you ever tried putting like a mic in like the hallway?
Yeah. We did that on Dreamhouse's Bloom album. That was all live drums, and
I was like not reverberating silence because that was
programmed. Yeah. But yeah, I put a couple mics in our hallway in our studio. It was like the setup was like our live room, our control room, and then we have this hallway that kind of wraps around both of those, like the control room. And I did it behind the control room, so it was like going through another room into a hallway, and it sounded awesome. So,
oh yeah,
yeah.
What's your vocal chain looking like these days?
Vocal chain is usually like a mic like the one you're on, SM7B. It's either that or I have a Slate ML1 modeling mic. You got one of those too. Look at that. There we go. There it is.
What do you usually run on that?
As far as I don't
like what you don't use the software on it.
Oh no, yeah, I do. But like, so I was gonna say with the 7B, usually I would take like 7B and go into my API preamp, then go through my distressor on the way in, doing a bunch of vocal compression. Then it hits, my converters. Then from there, it would be like an EQ, something like Fab Filter or like the SSL channel strip EQ, and then a multiband of some sort like C4, and then another compressor like I like CLA 76 Blue Stripe compressor. And then it would be like a limiter, shave off some peaks and bring the vocal a little forward, and then a de-esser, and then that would go to a vocal bus, and then from there it would probably be like another multi-band compressor just to maybe even out some areas. Like when the singer gets, really up close, you get the proximity effect where there's more low end in the vocal as opposed to this.
Mm-hmm.
So that a multi-band can deal with that, or S's, it can kind of tame some of that too. It might be another de-esser, but then after that it would probably be, it would send to reverbs and delays and stuff like that. So for reverbs and delays, I usually like Slate's Verb Suite, or like Waves H delay, or Echo Boy, or I know I'm getting really nerdy into this, but
I'm like,
Have you ever tried lustrous plates?
yeah. I think so. That's part of the Slate thing, right?
Yeah. That one, I like that one a lot.
Yeah.
I used H delay as well.
Yeah, it's good. H delay is great. Yeah.
Have you ever tried the UAD LA 2A?
No. I'm pretty sure I have it because it was free for a second. I think I downloaded the license, but I don't think I've ever installed it. But I have like the Slate one and the Waves one as well.
So I was sorry, we're getting real nerdy.
no,
right
I
now,
knew.
but-
Like, I was like, they're gonna figure it out.
I also wanted to ask what mic you run on your Slate.
Oh yeah, that all depends. So yeah, that Slate MO1 microphone is a modeling mic, and you can put like different mic models on it. But yeah, depends. I usually gravitate towards the 251 on it.
Oh really?
Yeah, or the C12. Sometimes I think I used it on the band Alley Eyes. I think, if I'm remembering correctly, I think we used some sort of like Neumann, like U67 or something. I'm trying to remember, but I don't think I used the 251 on it because it was a little too bright.
I really like the U87 on
Yeah.
that one.
Oh yeah,
That
yeah.
one's
They just
great.
came like relatively recently. They came out with that
Yeah.
expansion. Yeah, I don't think I've used that yet, but
It's great. I
Nice.
recommend it.
Yeah, sweet.
I feel like I'm having flashbacks
Check it out.
to Gearfest.
What? Just a bunch of nerd gear
Yeah,
talk?
never heard of
Yeah,
Gearfest.
yeah.
It's
No,
like
where's
Sweetwater. I don't think they host it anymore.
I
But they
think
used to host this like gear festival where it was literally just a bunch of like
did you guys
nerdy.
go?
We went a
Yeah.
few years.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's in
and I'd be
Indianapolis.
there and I'd just be like chilling, like picking up some guitars or like pianos or whatever, and they'd just be like, oh.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Yeah, it's in Indianapolis. I
Yeah.
think when COVID hit, they gravitated towards the online live streaming stuff,
Mm.
and then I don't know if they're doing it anymore, but
Yeah.
it was awesome.
They would have like
It was
classes
really
and
awesome.
stuff where they would use products.
Is it
and show you
kind
how
of
to
like
do
a
things
nom
and-
type of thing?
Yeah, and then they had like a used gear flea market where vendors would come in and they just had tents of like, I think I remember I got drum heads that were just brand new for $1 a drum head, and I'm like,
Damn.
I don't even have a drum set right now, but I'm just gonna buy some. And
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
you got to take advantage of it. while you
dollar
have
drum
that
heads.
chance.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Can't go wrong. They're
Yeah.
usually like $20 a pop.
Exactly.
So.
Yeah. It was just too good not to pass up. Yeah.
So do you got any cool projects you're working on right now that you can talk about?
Well, yeah, I mentioned before Lake Drive. Like we wrapped up pretty recently their EP. I think it's coming out. I don't know when this drops, but as of recording, I think it's coming out in a few weeks here. They've been slowly like rolling out the singles, so there's some available right now. But Lake Drive, I did Lilac and Lotus. I did 7 more singles with them that I co-wrote, and was pretty. I was more involved, like we were talking about earlier, with like co-writing and producing and stuff, and I was more hands-on in that project for sure.
You do their
Oh, yeah.
videos too.
Yeah, I do some video work here and there, and did all their videos too. So
Oh, yeah.
the Keystones, they're coming out I know I just talked about all those bands, but they're coming out with a couple more songs, and yeah, Neckrung, they're a heavy band out of La Crosse.
Oh, hell yeah.
They've got an EP that has been done for a while, but I'm just kind of waiting on them to put it out. So yeah, definitely check it out when it
Sick.
drops. It's heavy as shit.
Dude,
It's heavy as shit.
we played a show with them in Madison, and they were like,
Oh yeah,
we were blown away. for
yeah.
sure.
They're super tight too. Yeah, they're really tight
Yeah.
live and super heavy. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay, so, let's get into some Dreamhouse talk.
Yeah.
So, do you guys have anything in the works right now?
So we have like half recorded song that will eventually make a priority to get out and do it.
It's
I
hard.
think
It's harder these days.
We always get like
obviously, but-
inspired, like even when you're like writing with Lilac, I'm like, man, I wish we were writing for Dreamhouse right now. Like, you know, but that stuff's not paying the bills, so it's fine. I would like to do more. We'd like to do more, but yeah, there's just a couple songs we have kind of
We've got
in
new
the works.
material. It's just a matter of
when.
getting it out.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah.
We're not done. There will be more. There'll be more. Just we're busy being parents right now too. So
Working.
yeah.
and
Yeah.
living.
Just be patient with them,
be
guys.
patient. Yeah.
So how would you guys say your sound is like evolving?
I think we just we found our sound. I think like when we first started, we were just kind of like messing around. It was a very like, I don't even know what the word I'm looking for is. Cluster fuck, I guess, of like
It was a collection
different
of
things,
songs.
like yeah, but it
rather
wasn't very
than-
cohesive. And then
Yeah.
I feel like by the time we got to Reverberating Silence, most of the songs I feel like just kind of fit really well together. And also I just think like personally for me, like my vocal performance got way better from like when we first started.
Mhm.
And I kind of found like my style finally, and yeah, so that was cool. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
We almost went pop for a second, but then
Oh,
we
really?
didn't. Yeah, we almost sold out, and then that's what we kept saying. We're like, we're gonna be sellouts, and then we were like, nah, and we stuck to our roots because I don't know. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
So when you guys are writing, do you guys have any like habits or rituals that you use to like stay like inspired?
I mean, sometimes like Derek will bring on like co-writes, like with Nick from After Animals has written with him a bunch of times because he's really 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 good lyricist and just musician in general.
He helped a lot on writing Reverberating
Yeah,
Silence
he's just-
vocals with us
Yeah.
for sure. So I'll write with Nick quite a bit.
Yeah.
As far as like habits or rituals though, I think I'll get like I'll listen to a band and I'll just listen to them over and over that I'm really vibing with, and then they'll inspire me to get out of writer's block or just like take the time to just actually write, because
I think we were listening to a lot of Dayseeker when we
did
were doing
Yeah, yeah.
Reverberating Silence stuff.
Yeah,
and-
Dayseeker, bands like, well, they're not Slaves anymore, but Rain City Drive and Too Close to Touch and
Oh yeah, we were listening to that a lot.
bands like that. I think we're listening to a lot, and helped us kind of find our sound.
Yeah.
So I remember just like writing a lot after listening to those bands. It is kind of like, oh, I think I could do something like that. Like, but yeah, I think that's about it. Yeah.
What is each of your favorite song? This might be a different one for like each of these, but to perform live and / listen to.
Listen to is probably Regret, or Matches, Play Live, Matches.
Yeah.
That's probably my new favorite song to play live, and Losing Myself. That one's just always like I always like to open that with that one or keep it at the beginning of the set because it's very enjoyable to sing. It's not like too high up in my range where I feel like I'm dying right away at the beginning of the set.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah.
if you're gonna ask the worst, but the worst is clarity. I fucking hate it. Anytime, I'm sorry.
What was it?
Clarity. I like.
It's hard for you to
That
sing,
song's
yeah.
very like important to me. Like the lyrics and everything are very important, like to me. But that song is like just up here the whole time. There's no room to breathe. And every time they want to play it live, I'm like, why do you want to kill me? Why do you want to kill me?
Yeah. No, yeah, definitely Losing Myself for me. I think that's up there. And probably Tie Me Down. Tie Me Down
Oh
is,
yeah, tie me down.
is a
We
good
were
one.
playing that one before we dropped Reverberating Silence, and I remember we were on tour and we were playing The Rhino. And some girl came up afterwards and was like, "That was
Kansas
my
City.
song. That's my song."
Yeah, yeah.
I was like, "Oh, that's
Yeah, I
great."
think we've got that a couple times. We were playing
Yeah.
it before it came out, and people were like, "What was that fourth song that you played?"
Yeah.
And yeah.
Tie Me Down's
So
good.
Tie Me Down, I think,
Yeah.
is a favorite of mine.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we've kind of reached the end here,
'Kay.
but
Okay, right on.
I have like one last question.
Yeah.
So if you guys could go back in time to when you started in music and give yourself one piece of advice, what would it be?
Ooh. I think this can apply to not just music, but don't feel like you know all the answers. I feel like it's pretty common for, people when you're like 18 years old to feel like, oh, you know it all, and I don't listen to people that are older than me, and I got this, and you just get humbled real quick with life, and yeah, I feel like I would tell myself like, you don't know shit, just relax, and yeah.
I think I would say to just be patient and also not be too hard on yourself. Like,
Yeah.
I tell like, people in bands or whatever, if they're like, "Oh, we had a bad set," or like this happened, or like sometimes little things go wrong that nobody else would know, like only you know.
Yeah.
Because
You're your
like,
own worst critic.
right?
Yeah.
And so then if you dwell on that too much, then it's gonna come off in like your energy and whatever. So you
Mhm.
just have to like roll with the punches and learn from it and just like move on.
Yeah,
And-
yeah, don't dwell, but like let it make you stronger.
Yeah.
You know? Like what happened? What did I do wrong? Or then just apply it to the next show, and hopefully that show will be better.
Just look at what like lessons you can be taken from
Yeah,
that experience.
exactly.
Type of thing.
And just learn to like laugh at yourself. I don't know.
Yeah. Don't take yourself too seriously.
Right.
Type
Yeah.
of thing.
There are
Yeah.
times where like I seriously like overthink what I said on stage. I'm like, oh my god, did I actually say that? And I'm like, whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's over
Yeah,
with.
there was
Yeah.
one time when I messed up a solo, and I was not happy with myself that night. But
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's like
it is
it's
gonna
normal,
happen.
But yeah.
You go on.
Yeah. And if you see like your idols doing that too, like they hit a bum note or something, like even that happens to
I
them
think
too.
that's cool when that happens.
Yeah.
'Cause it's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
oh, they are human.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You're watching like a real shredder.
Right.
And they just like, oh.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, guys.
Cool.
Thank you so much for
Thanks.
doing this.
Thank
You
you,
guys
man.
are awesome.
Thank you. This is so
Thank
fun.
you. This is really
Appreciate it.
fun.
I was really excited for this one, so
Oh,
I'm glad we
cool.
made
cool.
it happen.
Thanks. Derek was
Thank you.
nervous.
I'm always nervous to get in,
He
get on the mic.
He's normally the guy. That's why he's not the front man. Because
I'm usually
Actually, no,
behind.
I'm very nervous about
behind the
everything.
scenes,
Yeah.
I'm
staring at the
actually
computer.
shocked I wasn't nervous.
Same
for
here.
this.
Yeah. No, this was fun though. It was,
Yeah, it was a blast.
Yeah.
All right, thanks for watching, everybody.
Hey, thank you.
Make sure you like and subscribe, and check out Dreamhouse.
Thank you.